Well, hello. I am so glad to have you here with me. I do this show every single day. It is called the Tao Manifesting Tarot. It is different from any other tarot reading I've ever seen on the internet or heard. I've done tarot for over 20 years. I got into tarot like so many other people do, thinking it predicts something. Well, I come to find out tarot doesn't predict a damn thing. No. Tarot is the science of potential. You got the tarot cards, you have the frequencies, and then you see how those frequencies combine and allow you to manifest. Because manifesting, a God given gift to each and every one of us, manifesting is the kryptonite for the world around you. That doesn't mean you put your head in the sand and you're in fantasy land. I don't do the lollipops and rainbow stuff. Don't do it. This is hard in your face tarot. You're going to only get 3 cards because 3 is a very sacred number. You got the Trinity for Christianity, but it may be equally important in another way. Nikola Tesla said if you knew the power of the number 3, you would understand how the universe operates. Tesla was a pretty good guy, pretty intelligent. A lot of evidence that 3 is a special number, and so we will stick with 3 tarot cards. Okay, that's the point. Focus, tight. I don't want to put 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 tarot cards out there because it just confuses. It's a word salad. At that point, the person doing those kinds of reading doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They're just throwing out everything they can, hoping that you connect with something. I don't do that. 3 cards, very tightly focused. You don't have to guess what the energy is. And I even add in numerology and astrology where applicable. And they're almost useful in every reading. I've done tarot for 20 years, as I said, numerology and astrology for 50 years. Now, while tarot is the science of potential, numerology and astrology are the science of cycles. Within cycles, ad nauseum. And that's where the problem comes, because most astrologers, myself included, by the way, have a tough time distilling that. There's so much information by quintiles, sextiles, squares. You got the nadir moving, you got the ascendant moving, you got the house. It's just too much. And so by the time you get done with an astrological reading, most of the time you're more confused than you were going in. I don't want that. With this tarot reading, we are focused on tarot and your ability to manifest the energy. I use the astrology and numerology as kind of a foundation, a base. Kind of give you a feel for what's going on in the world. The energies repeat. For example, 1776, we had the American Revolution. Uranus and Pluto were in the same position then that they are now. The reason it's taken so long is Pluto is so far away, it takes 250 years to go around the solar system. Pluto is evolution. Uranus is revolution. Look what we have on the planet. Just knowing that and then bringing it forward helps give you texture. And yes, it was just as messy, just as weird, just as stupid, just as antagonistic in the revolution. It was not an easy skate. We didn't have 20, 30, 40, 50 wise men get together and say, we see the future. No. They fought like hell. They cheated like hell. They lied. All the same crap going on today went on then. Somehow, through the grace of God, we got some good, solid foundations found in our Constitution. But the same kind of energy is being used today. So now, with that in mind, let's take a look at the energy in this tarot reading to help you manifest. And the overriding idea is feeling it. Feeling what? Feeling blessed. Blessed is not a spiritual situation. It's a real situation. And not that spirituality is not real, but it's a 3D versus 5D situation. Feeling blessed is an attitude of gratitude, really. Life is not going to be perfect. Life is a four-letter word. It ain't gonna be perfect. It's up and down, up and down, up and down, but it's in that swing that you develop your strength. You develop character. You really gain your spiritual muscles. And the first step is feeling blessed. You have a special connection. If, here's the potential, you choose to connect with that feeling. So that's kind of where we're at this point in time. That's the setup for the reading. Want to take time to remind you here, got 1776 just to remind you about the energies, but also to remind you that we're in a time where there is literally a war going on the internet. And it's at several levels. But for people who podcast, there's that constant force that is keeping us quiet. Don't talk about this, don't talk about that. Oh yeah, they let us talk about some things that they didn't let us talk about 4 years ago when they were lying to us. But there are other things now that have replaced it. They keep changing the game, moving the goalposts. They keep saying, well, this is good, that's bad, that's good. The point is that they decide, and they're not elected, they decide what is politically reasonable or not. So if you say the bad words, woo, you're in trouble. And every podcaster I know has been noticing their numbers have been fluctuating and kind of being put down a little bit. And they're playing with the numbers. It's all numbers. It's all computers. So that's why they want you to have an electric car, by the way. All they have to do is flick a switch, power goes out, your car is nothing but a paperweight. That's why they want the 15-minute cities, easier to control. That's why you're seeing food disappear in the grocery stores. If you're hungry, they gotcha. That's why they're playing with the money. All this talk about gold or silver or CBDCs or what's going on. It's all an attempt to control. And the same thing going on the internet. So if you could please help me fight back just a little bit. Like and subscribe. Very important. Like and subscribe. It will make all the difference in the world. So let's get to the reading. You see up in front of you on the screen, 3 tarot cards, as I mentioned. It's kind of just the setup. We have the karmic manifested message. I'll break down very, very briefly what each of those cards mean as a quick review as we go through it. But the whole idea is to get you to make the pictures in your head, not on some damn screen or some phone or AI, which is, to me, a farce, a joke. More and more stories are popping up about how AI is getting things wrong. Remember, it's a friggin' computer. Shit in, shit out. And there's been a lot of shit out. And I think that's why they're pushing us to get interacting with AI so much. They need more data, more data, more data, because that's all they have. Isn't it funny that for all this predictive data, they still can't predict the scores to the game, no matter what the game is, football, baseball, basketball, hockey. They can't predict. They can't predict who the champions are going to be. They can't predict humanity. So they figure if they just keep loading in information, loading in data, loading in data, loading in data, loading in data, eventually they'll get it, and they don't have it. You do. You have the kryptonite. So let's get to the reading. Let's get down to the serious stuff. We begin with the first card, Queen of Swords. Swords are thoughts, ideas, beliefs, way we think about ourselves, way we think about the world. Queen of Swords is the gal who gets the job done. King will make the proclamation, but it's the queen who makes sure that things get done. And what she's doing is telling you, watch your thoughts. Feel blessed. Okay? No matter what shit you're going through in your life, feel blessed. And understand that if you do your best, you'll survive. It may be tight, may be tough, and I believe coming up in the next year or two, as the elites are beginning to see that we're telling them to go stick it in their keisters, they're panicking. Because that's all it takes. If we just all said, hey, to hell with you, ain't a damn thing in the world they're going to do. But if they can keep scaring us, it's a psyops. Queen of Swords says, don't play the game. There is some new information coming your way that's going to give you a really helpful insight. And it's going to happen soon. 8 of Wands. 8 of Wands talks about speed. Wands talks about positivity, joy, creativity. It allows you to be plugged into a life that means something to you, not just get your ass out of bed, go to work, come home, go to bed, go to work, come home, go to bed, go to work. That's living for the band. That's living for the elites. Make money for me. Make money for me. I'm going to hold you down. I'm going to hold you down. I'm going to keep you poor. But keep making me money. Well, there's a piece of information. Queen of Swords says there's something coming to you very quickly, Eight of Wands, that will allow you to see the possibility of living a life that is meaningful to you. There may be reincarnation. I don't know. I'm not going to say yes. I'm not going to say no. I'm going to wait till see what happens. And then when it happens, it won't matter because I won't be able to tell anybody and I won't remember myself. But in any event, if there is reincarnation, that changes things. If there isn't, this is your one and only life. This is your shot. Make it count, says the Eight of Wands. We move on from there to the Strength card. This piece of information you're going to get from the Queen of Swords, this understanding, this realization, this insight, will come to you very quickly, out of the blue, just like, wow, why didn't I think about that before? That will give you the strength to move ahead. That will give you the strength to feel blessed, to connect with gratitude. And the minute that you do that, the picture changes. Wow! Isn't that amazing? But that's how it's going to give you the strength to do the heavy lifting that is ahead of us. The next couple years are going to be hellacious. They're going to throw everything at us. So you will need this insight from the Queen of Swords. You need to get it quickly. You need to get it with enthusiasm. That will give you the strength to keep on keeping on. Let's take a look at the astrologic. Now, I'm not getting specific with the astrology today because what we're doing is we're moving through a period of time, more than 200 years. But the planets involved most especially are Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. I talked about Uranus and Pluto just a little bit ago. But you throw in Neptune, which fogs things up, and that takes us to where we are today. The current astrological energies, the stuff that we're seeing, is sort of an economic revolt. People are talking about the Fed, all this crap. Oh, what are they doing with our gold? What are they doing? They're stealing from us. Well, this whole argument, this whole deal with the Fed began in 1795. Alexander Hamilton supported a private national bank. Never liked Alexander Hamilton. I hate him at this point. But he was bought and purchased. Wall Street, by the way, started in 1795 as well. So Alexander Hamilton was the stankiest of the stanky. But in any event, 1795, he said, hey, let's do the private national bank stuff. Well, it failed. The idea came again in the 1830s. Andrew Jackson said no. He was the president of the United States, Andy Jackson. Some guy tried to get up and kill him. Andy Jackson was out for a walk. He almost beat him to death with a stick. So again, the private bank idea defeated. But then in 1913, it was sort of a criminal plot. If you investigate how the Fed was founded in 1913, you'll realize there was some nasty shit that went on. It was dirty. The Fed was born, however. And in fact, right after the Fed was born, at the same time they passed the income tax because the Fed needed our money to support the Fed. It's a Ponzi game. Anyway, it looks right now, at least if you listen to what's coming out of Washington, like the Fed may be up for grabs. It could be destroyed. If it is, it will be absolutely historic. It will give us a real sense of freedom. That's what we all could use. But that's it for right now. We're done with the reading. I've laid it all out for you. We've had some astrology, some numerology. Not a lot of numerology, but we've had some of it. And of course, the tarot. This is your kryptonite. Reach out. Be positive. Feel blessed. Get in touch with that mentality. That's all it takes. So that's it. Got another day. Hope I see you tomorrow. I'm here every single day, 365. Please join me again because you're the one that makes it worthwhile. So between now and the next time you and I get together to manifest, peace and blessings.